What's up, Cyberspace Cadets? That's right, it's Sunday. You know what that means. It's time for some ice cream. And the concept is simple. Ice cream is a treat, and I love talking to people. So I treat myself to almost every Sunday to a new person, hopefully. And it's usually somebody that I find fascinating. Not usually. If they're not interesting to me, I'm not going to talk to them, to be honest with you. And today's show is no exception to that. I saw this YouTuber a couple of years back, and I've been sub to her ever since. She's made some changes channel-wise, but she's been fantastic. And her camera just left. So I'll go back here until we can figure out what happened. I might have to get her to hop in the there we go. There we go. Can you hear me? Okay, I can't hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me? I didn't want to interrupt the thing. Sorry, I exited out.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, killer.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the one and only Tamimi. Little boomer action there. It wouldn't be an ice cream without it. I'm telling you, it's a mainstay around here, as they say. So how you doing?
Good. I'm sorry. I just didn't know if I was interrupting that jumping back in, so I didn't want to start talking.
You're fine. This is excellent. So yeah, this is the ideal situation. Everybody, say hey to the people in the Lou studio. I totally apologize for Nightbot yeeting your ass. I don't know what the fuck that was about.
Oh my god.
Sorry, man. So I've got you as a moderator now. So Nightbot, be good, damn you. I mean, for fuck's sake, you know what I'm saying?
Lewis is cool.
Yeah,
he's cool.
Trying to get new people, in here, and Nightbot's just running them off.
Oh, jeez.
You know what I'm
silly
saying?
Robots.
No doubt. So I'm going to go ahead and just, because, man, the camera just loves this person so much. This young lady is camera friendly. You have a camera friendly facade.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying so.
Yeah, the way that I do this thing is I start out with YouTube, and then we'll kind of get into the person's life, who they are, right, and then we end full circle back at YouTube. All right. Mm-hmm. And usually, so the first question I always ask everybody is how long have you been on YouTube? What was the main reason that you came to YouTube at the beginning?
Oh my gosh. So I joined YouTube in 2008, and I know everybody likes to say that I'm 14 now, but I was actually 13, 14 when I started actually uploading videos and stuff. And it was actually this channel. I don't think I have the videos public anymore. I might. It was some stupid mop commercial that me and my friends did.
Oh, cool.
And it actually, for the time, it went viral for how terrible a video it was. And it was just some sort of we basically took the audio of a commercial and went over it, sort of like how TikTok is now. But we started doing video games, and then I started getting into commentary later down the line and all different types of stuff.
It's cool. Yeah, I think that's how I found you was through commentary, and I just always dug your style. You seem to be kind of down to earth, and you're not playing a character. It's you're just you seem like how much of Tamimi or what we see is the real you? Would you say?
I think that when I'm my stage presence, as I could say, is a lot less socially awkward than I am in real life. But other than that, I'm pretty much my opinions and everything are the same. I feel in real life I'm a very awkward person, but I try to be as outgoing as I can on here. It's not necessarily a different personality as it is that I'm terrible. But as far as my kind of bubbliness and my very outspokenness, once you kind of once I kind of warm up to you in real life, like if I'm talking to you in person, it's like the same exact person that you would see me on here.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. And I kind of and that kind of I kind of read that, you know, when I watch your content. So is there? I love asking this question because, man, I get so many different answers. Is there a food from your childhood that you couldn't stand, that you hated, and now that you're older, you kind of like it?
Probably pickles.
Okay.
Like I used to never eat pickles as a kid, and now it's like one of my like top foods that I put on a lot of different types of stuff. And other than that, I eat cheese all the time, and I've always as a kid, but I'm trying to. It's like kind of like the opposite. I'm trying not to eat it anymore. But
are you like a
terrible
vegetarian or something? Is that for?
No, lactose intolerant, but nothing that has to do with like you know, it's. To me, it's I really respect people that can be a vegetarian and be like vegan and stuff, but I don't think I ever could. It's just one thing I couldn't live without, but I'm trying.
That's right. Let's see. So who is the most influential person in your early childhood, would you say?
In my early childhood, it's actually not necessarily anybody famous. For me, it's actually a lot of family members that were. I grew up, I don't have any brothers or sisters, but I grew up with a lot of cousins. And I feel like a lot of what they kind of taught me early on in life is still reflective of who I am today. And it's actually interesting because whenever I ask, well, not that I ask people that question all the time, but whenever that would come up in conversation throughout my lifetime, anytime that anyone would say like, oh, you know, this person influences me and this person influences me, a lot of times it's like their like role model is somebody who's super famous or like a character that isn't like totally real, but like maybe a superhero or something. But for me, it was always like my cousins growing up, and it still kind of is in a way. So
cool. Yeah. And chat, if you can help us out, share this on Twitter and get some people in there. There's not enough people in here, in my opinion. All right.
Yeah. I tried sharing this like I did share it on Twitter, but I also shared it on like an Instagram link, but I don't know how to do the swipe up thing, so I don't know if it worked too well. But.
Yeah, Instagram's a mystery to me too. So.
Yeah, it's technically disadvantaged, so it's pretty challenging.
Well, we make a pair. It's like, and the reason we have Mimi on camera and IRATE is not on camera is because I look like Dick Cheney's hunting partner, if you know what I'm saying.
Oh God! No, I'm sure you're fine.
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
So, what kind of kid were you?
Well, I was only child growing up, so I was actually less socially awkward than I am now. I feel like as an adult, I'm kind of very much the opposite of who I was. When I was a kid, I would always be like trying to socialize with people and like go out of my way to like introduce myself to people that I don't know and make friends. Now I'm like really closed off and like just kind of like a loner type of person. I have my close niche of people, but I'm not like as comfortable going out of my shell like I was. I moved around schools a lot from like moving and everything, so that might have been like as I got older, that might have to do with how I've kind of slowly became more of a quiet person. But when I was really young, I loved to like go outside and like meet anybody I could and ride bikes and all types of stuff that I feel like nobody does anymore, like breathing fresh air and not looking at cell phones.
Running around and shit.
yeah. Climbing trees and stuff.
Man, I'm from a day when we didn't wear helmets to ride bicycles and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was some major head injuries and stuff in my neighborhood. It was cool. You know.
Oh my God. We, my boyfriend, me, and a good bunch of friends, this was maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, we went up to a ski resort, and one of our friends, the one who, ignited the whole trip, didn't wear a helmet, and we were snowboarding and skiing, and within 5 minutes, he cracked his head on the ground, Now, no, it wasn't like gory or anything, but he got an instant concussion, and the entire trip was just at that point sitting in a lobby, going back and forth to hospitals up in like the nowhere, Pennsylvania. So, you know, head traumas are pretty scary. So, yeah, that was terrible though. But yeah, especially like if you're riding bikes and stuff like that when you're a little kid, that I've seen my fair share of injuries. Luckily, I was kind of smart and rode my helmet wore my helmet most of the time. Yeah. But yeah.
So you grew up in a 2-parent household.
Yeah, I still both my parents are actually still together. Good. So I'm one of the lucky ones, I guess. Everybody else I know from my childhood has like divorced parents, which is sad. But yeah, my parents are still together, and they're an old angry couple, I guess. You know,
they're an old angry couple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mimi. And what is you've got a beautiful little German Shepherd. What is that dog's name, man?
Oh, his name's Chester. He's actually
Chester.
He's in the other room taking a nap with my boyfriend, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna do this stream, and he's like, oh, I'll take Chester, and so he doesn't bother. I was like, but he's cute on camera. Yeah. They're all snuggled up. Let me see. I actually have pictures. I don't know if it will show up well on my phone or on my screen here, but on my phone we just had him doing this earlier, and he's my ring light's not letting me. There you go. He's just snuggling up on our couch. He's like my son.
Yeah. How old is he now?
He just turned 2.
Yeah.
So he's like just in his terrible 2s, like an actual toddler, but as a 4-legged furry German Shepherd dog that likes to bite people's hands when they try to play with them. But he's good. He's a really good boy.
Shepherds are good dogs.
Yeah. They're smart. They're very intelligent dogs.
And very obedient. Very good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm jealous. My wife Uzi and I are thinking about getting. I think we're going to get an American boxer.
They're cute. Yeah, they're really cute dogs.
Yeah, they're cool looking.
Yeah. My neighbor had one, and it was actually funny. I'm not sure. I think it was like a purebred boxer. They had to increase the height of their fence because when they would go to work, this dog would have his little doggy door, and he'd go outside whenever he'd want. And he'd jump over the fence and explore the neighborhood, but he would know when they'd come home from work, and he'd hop back over the fence before they'd pull in. And eventually they caught him, so I'm doing it. So they had to like raise their fence to like 6 or 7 feet tall just so it wouldn't jump over it.
Yeah, so. Welcome Job Jacobs. Yeah, so what? All right, so Christmas time. What's up? All right, for a lot of people, Christmas is a very, it can be a very depressing time. It can be a very uplifting time for them. Is there like a Christmas special or like a Christmas carol that holds special meaning for you that helps you, get through the holidays? Or
See, Christmas is actually one of my favorite holidays, and even working in retail with Black Friday and everything, where things really want to make you hate that season, I've always loved it. So luckily, nothing's really killed that for me. So my family, it's like a weird tradition. We would go to my grandmother's every single Christmas Eve. And Christmas Eve to me is actually more exciting than Christmas Day because of that. And also, every single year from the day that whenever time it airs until Christmas morning the next day, they would put, what's it called? A Christmas Story. I'm thinking of A Christmas Carol for some reason, but no, they would play A Christmas Story with the little kid Ralphie
with the BB
and everything.
Gun,
yeah, and you'll shoot your eye out. They play that over and over and over again, and it's one of the only movies that is so fascinating to watch. Not just like watch yourself, but like have everybody in the room watching it, because for some reason, no matter how many times my family sees it, everybody gets so like shocked and like excited during certain parts of the movie, like, oh, he got his tongue stuck to the pole, and it's like watching a bunch of little kids seeing the movie for the first time. So that's really fun. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's nice that I guess I don't know, it's on like ABC Family or something that they just put it on and it just reruns the whole night.
Boom, yeah, it's going and going. I did, yeah. So if you could go back in time and talk to yourself at the age of 8, what would you tell little Mimi?
Well, the biggest thing that I've struggled with as a kid, which I unfortunately don't think too many kids at the age that I've struggled with it really had that problem, is ever since I was like 13 years old, I struggled with a severe anxiety and panic disorder. And I was actually going to make a video about this at some point, whenever I figure out how to get around YouTube's algorithm with trying to keep me quiet on mental health. But so what happened was, back then, like right now, like mental health is such a like widely talked about topic. But this, going back, I was in like 7th or 8th grade. It was like 2007 at the time. It was really not discussed a lot. I went to doctors for it, and my family doctor was really concerned, and they just kind of had their arms up in the air, like, you know, you're really young to have such a severe case of anxiety and like panic attacks. We don't really have an answer on what to really do. And at that time, they did mention, like, you know, trying to go to like therapy and stuff. But as a kid, and as a not only a kid that had no idea what that meant, but having a kid with family that never really had to deal with that type of thing, nobody had experiences in my family of going to see a mental health facility or a doctor for it. So it scared the crap out of me. And eventually, like, for a long time, I refused to go because at that time there was a lot of stigma around it. In my 8th grade class, it was really hard because there was one of my guidance counselors, like, I would have panic attacks in school, and it got to a point where my mom actually had to take me out and homeschool me that whole year. But well, almost, it's a long story, but for half the year almost, I had to be homeschooled. And before that happened, one of the guidance counselors told me, it wasn't handled well at all. She looked at me, she's like, now don't worry, you're not crazy. Don't let yourself feel like you're crazy. I never mentioned.
Well, if
crazy,
somebody told me
okay?
to say you're not crazy, the first thing I'm going to think is they think I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah,
right?
Like,
You know?
I was like 8th grade, and I had no idea how to even like construct the type of like sentence to really explain how I was feeling, but I knew I wasn't crazy, and for this lady to tell me that was like, I was taken aback. And they just sat me in a room alone, all by myself, and had me watch this cassette videotape. It was like a VHS tape.
Nice.
They put it in on the TV with the little wheels, and they're like, oh yeah, you know, just watch this. It's gonna help you learn how to deal with stress. And I'm like, I'm in the middle at this point of having a panic attack. I'm watching this video, and it's like from the 80s, and it's just this lady talking to a little girl about breathing practices. And I'm like, okay, but like, I don't need help with like breathing control, and that is a way you can calm yourself down. Like, I'm having a full-blown panic attack. I want to go home. I need my mom. I don't know how, but eventually, I think they did end up calling my mom. But through that whole thing, that was a long tangent. Through that entire situation, like, that whole year was horrible, and following years was really difficult to deal with too, because this whole time, like, there weren't a lot of people talking about this online. There weren't a lot of people like explaining, you know, I go through this too, especially anybody my age. And I felt really, really alone, and I felt really like scared. And the only thing that I would ever see people talk about regarding the type of issues that I had was talking about, oh, well, I had this problem for 10 years. I had this problem for 20 years, and it would make me feel even worse knowing that this is something that I would have to deal with for maybe another decade for the rest of my life. And the thought of that made me feel really bad about myself. And if I were to tell myself, as I am now, and go back in time and tell myself, you know, unfortunately, it is something that I still deal with, but it's not something that would cripple my life to the point that I thought it would when I was younger. And maybe that would help ease my fear of the future, because at that point in time I was horrified. Every day I was scared to like wake up knowing that
Right.
it could be like that for the rest of my life, and it wasn't. And you know, as time went on and I started going into like, oh, you know, therapy actually isn't scary as I thought, because I've only seen scenes from movies that depict it as such and stuff.
Right.
You know, stuff like that. I really wish I could let myself know, like, you know, these things are actually really helpful, and they're not scary, and they're not something that will harm you. It's something that'll help you, because nobody was there to tell me that.
Right.
So, sorry that was so long.
No, that's a fantastic answer. No, that was excellent.
Thanks.
That's excellent. So, were you? What about student? Were you a good student?
So I was.
That said it all, didn't it?
So it depends on where, like, because I went to a bunch of different schools, and I was always a well-behaved student. I never really got in a whole lot of trouble. I was always respectful to like my teachers and stuff. But it always like my academics depended on where I was, because certain schools that I was in really made it hard not for me to learn, but for me to even feel like I should be learning anything. There was one school district I went to where I would actually, on top of having anxiety, I would have like other health problems, and it made it really hard for me to like attend school a lot. So I would fall behind. And then there was another point in my life where I lost a family member, and I fell behind again. And the difference was that the first school that I went to, which is where I lost my family member, they were a lot easier with helping me get back on track and like kind of get myself back onto my feet than the school district where I had health problems in. School district where I had health problems in not only was really hard for me to kind of regain like my academic skills and kind of like get myself back up to good grades, but also tried to punish me because they lost my doctor's notes and excuse me tried to find my family for illegal absences, which then later on turned out that no, they had them the whole time. The teacher that I gave them to just never turned them in, and it got my family into a lot of excuse me situations. And yeah, it was really bad. But sorry.
You okay?
Excuse me. There was like a piece of dust flying around, and it like flew right down my throat, and I felt it when it happened, and I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, but in other schools where like not only was I like doing well academically, but also was able to attend because I wasn't having health problems at the time, I did really, really good. My last school that I went to, the school that I graduated at, I graduated with honors, almost straight A's, and it's a place where I would actually visit after I graduated because I loved it so much that I wanted to like see my teachers and be like, hey, and I still have some of them on like social media, which is really cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was a really good school.
So high school, so it sounds like high school was a positive experience for you. So
very much.
You plan on going to your 20-year reunion when that pops up, or your 10-year reunion when that pops up?
I don't know if they'll have one. So the school that I went to when I graduated, they actually have charter schools. So I don't know if you like, because I think they're pretty popular in the U.S. Charter schools are like owned by like private companies, sometimes private people. But so to make it kind of like as easy as I can explain it. So I would move a lot, and certain school districts in like within a 15-mile radius were a lot different. You can go downtown, and the school district will be so much better than the school district in my township.
Right.
It just has to do with the township and the funding and stuff. The school district that I went to a long time ago when I was younger was actually really nice, and I loved it a lot. But then when we moved to this town, the school district that I went to from like around middle school was not the best. That's where I had like all those problems with the absences and stuff. Excuse me, I am so sorry.
It's that time of year.
Oh, goodness. Usually if I had like a hair in my throat, I'm not like constantly talking, so I think that's why it's like so bad. But oh my gosh. So anyway, yeah, the school district around here wasn't good. And yeah, so when I went back to a charter school, it was actually owned by the school district that I really, really like. And the reason I went to that school was because of that, because I couldn't go to that school district living in the town I do now without paying, I think it was like a huge tuition because of taxes. That's the reason why, like, if you live in one town, you can't go to another school.
Right.
So that was the closest thing I could get to graduating with the school district that I wanted to graduate in. And the teachers there that I graduated in that school was just fantastic. It was just as good as the school district that when I went to when I was really little. I think sometimes, I don't know if people still have problems with charter schools. I know that, like, at least in the news in my local paper, a lot of people had issues. But it was really, like, it really saved my academics, because if I had continued to go to the school district that was in my township, I don't even think I would have graduated. It was really bad.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's the whole deal with charter schools. The reason people don't like them is because it threatens union employees, teachers that suck, that are there for their paycheck, and that are locked into their job because of, and it's a huge threat because the teachers are promoted on a merit-based system. So if they perform better, right, they get paid more, right? So
yeah, so it seems like
kind of makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it sounds like it's more looked down upon as a teacher's perspective than
Yes.
like somebody who's attending it as a student. Might be a little bit different because
Well, I'm talking about public school teachers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So
it will probably attract good teachers.
yeah.
Let's see. So this is a question I like to ask people. Describe the first time you got, quote, fucked up. And I don't mean tipsy. I don't mean slightly buzzed. But I mean, you know what I mean. Like that, whoa, where you pay for it.
I never have. I am a very, very boring person. I've never been drunk in my life or like high. I mean, the closest thing you could say is like when I got what's it called? When you go to the dentist and they put that shit on your face to like kind of relax, the laughing gas. Yeah. I'm going to eventually make videos talking about this. Like, so I want to kind of get a little bit more personal on my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to wait for the most appropriate time because I feel like as I'm growing an audience, I really want to kind of get people interested in me before I start talking about these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to like make a video and then like nobody cares. These types of, I have like a lot of really deep topics that I can get into and really hopefully help people with it, with
Mm-hmm.
my unfortunate life situations. But I do have like a family history with some addictive tendencies in it. So, and alcoholism is one of them. So I've never wanted to even try to like get drunk or anything like that because I always told myself, well, it's kind of like what's like something that you really love, like maybe it's like a type of food or like a type of drink, like, something that you can't picture yourself living without enjoying. Well, if you never had that, if you don't know what it's like, then you can't really say you can't live without it. And that's kind of how I view like substances and alcohol and stuff. So the only type of like I wouldn't really like, because I don't drink. The only other close thing, like the only type of like drug or anything I've done is anything that's like prescribed for me. So yeah, so I kind of just stayed away from that like my whole life, and the time that I've tried alcohol is more pathetic than saying that I've never even tried it, because basically the only time I've ever had alcohol was when I had my first Holy Communion, and you have to like eat the cracker and drink the wine, and it's like a really, really low alcohol level wine they give, and like you only take like the tiniest sip. So
Yes.
that was the one time I got lit, kids. So
Nice. So, all right, what's the dumbest way you got injured?
dumbest way I've gotten. Oh God, now that one is pretty bad. I can tell you a lot of really stupid injuries I've had. Probably the dumbest one I've done was I deserved this. This was entirely my fault. So when I was a kid, learned things the hard way a lot. I never put two and two together a lot. And one time I was like, every time I fall on the ground, my hands just kind of go out in front of me instinctually, and I don't know why. Like, I mean, obviously now it's like, oh, well, yeah, obviously it's to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to do a fun little experiment where I force my hands not to go out in front of me when I fall. And, of course, by doing that, I fell right on my face, and I hurt my nose so badly. I didn't break it, but I was in tears. And then I just sat there on the couch with like ice pack on my face, like thinking, why am I so stupid? But I ended up like, I didn't fall on my face on the floor or anything. I tried to fall on a couch so that way I wouldn't hurt myself. But there was like this wooden piece on the arm of the couch, and my face hit the wooden piece out of all the places it could have landed, and I was just like,
Ooh.
Oh God, yeah, it was terrible. Another time I was hanging out with one of my friends, and this wasn't really a stupid injury because I didn't have much control over this, but me and my friends, for some reason, like, there was a bunch of rocks outside of my house, and I had a baseball bat, and instead of, throwing a baseball and hitting it, we would throw the rocks up and hit it, and just watch the rocks disappear so we wouldn't have to go get it. Well, my friend had picked up this really big boulder type rock. Well, not a boulder, but it was like the size of this water bottle. It was pretty big. I said water bottle, it's iced tea. Anyway, so it was a pretty big rock. And I don't remember what I said, but I said something that, like, pissed her off. So she turned around and threw the rock at my face, and that was the only time in my life that I've ever seen double. And I don't think it's visible on camera, but I still have the scar. It's like a Harry Potter scar right above my eyebrow.
Wow.
That was probably the worst injury I've had. It was terrible.
Excuse me, I was swallowing. I was swallowing. I'm a swallower. So, all right, let's talk about music. What was the first album you ever owned?
First album.
Remember?
Oh my God! The first thing I remember owning was like a Britney Spears album. I was a really little kid, and I, for some reason, remember loving Britney Spears and like NSYNC and like all those pop star bands. And that was back when, like Burger King would like actually put CD albums in your Burger King meal bag instead of a toy, and they would give us like I think NSYNC was one of them.
Right.
And I would listen to NSYNC, Britney Spears, and I think like the Backstreet Boys and stuff, but. That was a long time ago.
That's cool.
My tastes have changed.
All right, yeah, and for everybody, especially the one and only William Stinchever, who's been AWOL for quite a while, Mimi is over the age of 18. We just want to get that clear.
Yeah.
What it is, well, you've got one of those faces that could read from anywhere from like 14 to 30. I swear to God, you know what I'm saying? and so, yeah, it's kind of hard to pinpoint, but you've been doing YouTube what 10, 11 years?
Oh, so back in 2008, yeah, that'd be like 11 years.
11 years.
Long time. And it's the same face.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say is because I was looking at one of your videos earlier this week, and you were pointing out that your face is literally hasn't changed
Yeah.
in 10 years. Let's see. Oh yeah, what was so? What's your favorite band now? What do you listen to now?
Um, so my favorite band is still Metallica. Metallica, Avenged Sevenfold. I really like, a lot of alternative stuff, metal. I listen to anything, but Metallica, just ever since I was like maybe 13 or 14, has stuck with me, and that's the only band that I can actually name albums. Everything else, I just kind of like, I know the song, but I don't know where the heck it came from, what album it's on. So,
Well, yeah, For Whom the Bell Tolls opened the show, so I felt that
yeah, that
was
was awesome.
appropriate. Yeah. So is that the first concert you ever went to?
No, actually, the first concert I went to, I forget, it was called like Bamboozle or something. It was actually at Six Flags, and it had a bunch of punk rock bands like, who was there? I remember Simple Plan was there, and then like a lot of other random bands. Good Charlotte, who else? I think the All American Rejects went, but it was like an all day thing, and we only saw a few bands. And I remember specifically seeing Simple Plan and getting a picture with them and stuff, and it was really cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So all right, all right. Music wise, a guilty pleasure that I have, and everybody knows this that knows me, is Poppy. I like her stuff for some reason. I like the concept. I like the whole idea behind it. Do you have any guilty pleasures musically?
Well, I like a couple Poppy songs. There's one song, I forget what it's called, but it's almost like Japanese sounding. She goes like mochi mochi. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, it's such a cute song. I like
Yeah.
that song. It's
Yeah.
catchy.
Moshi Moshi.
Um, uh, I like Avril Lavigne. I feel like a lot of people judge me whenever I say that. That's not even. I just went to her concert last week and I was like freaking out. And every time I go like anywhere like that, I'll always bring my boyfriend. He's not crazy about Avril Lavigne, but he went with me and he was just like the whole time he's just standing there like I don't know what the hell's going on. And I'm
Yeah.
just sitting there dancing and all
Yeah.
excited like a little kid at Christmas.
Well,
But
yeah, she
yeah.
kind of had like a punk vibe, right? Real
Yeah.
high energy, kind of Ramonesy kind of feel. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. When she was in her like back in like 2008 is when I would listen to her all the time. Back when actually no, it might have been before that. It might have been like 2006 when that Girlfriend song came out.
Hmm.
It's when she was really popular and everyone liked her. She came out with a clothing line and I bought like all of the clothes. Like I was that emo kid at school that wore like the black Abby Dawn. Like she was like one of my favorites.
Say hi to RVA DAR and tourists. Greetings.
Hello.
Just kind of loving on the chat over there. Just gotta keep. I'm juggling shit over here, but okay, yeah. So you mentioned your boyfriend. Talk about relationships, your history, and is marriage, the idea of marriage, appealing to you?
Yeah, I mean,
Kids,
so
you
kids. I don't. He wants kids eventually, and I'm just like, you want to adopt? um, but yeah, we've actually been dating. In February will be 9 years. We've been dating for almost a decade since we were like 16 years old.
know. Wow.
Yeah, we were like high school sweethearts, except for we didn't go to the same school. We had mutual friends, but I guess you could call it that. But before then, I had like a couple little flings here and there, like as a kid, as a teenager. But I feel so disconnected with a lot of like posts and people talking about like dating and stuff, because I'm in like since I've been dating the same person for like 9 years, it's like, oh, I'm like, I can't really relate to any of the things that people are saying, because it's like, oh, on Tinder and stuff, I've never had to use Tinder, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like a bullet I dodged, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, we've been dating since we were little kids. I feel like we're gonna be old in like a week because of just how fast time flies, but
Speaking of Tinder, I do want to plug where I'll be later on tonight. I'll be on Trippy Poop's channel. We'll be doing Social Media Sunday, And what we do is we look at really weird, creepy Tinder profiles and
fun.
stuff. There's like this diaper lover site. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And a brony site, furry sites and stuff. So, dating profiles of people on those things is funny as hell.
Oh my gosh. That actually sounds really fun. Oh my god, one time my boyfriend and I somehow stumbled upon one of our friends' dating apps or dating. It wasn't Tinder. It was like before Tinder got popular. It was like OkCupid, I think.
Right.
And I forget how we stumbled upon it or if a friend told me it was on there, but we ended up, I forget. It's been so long that I can't even remember if we actually went through with it or if we were talking about it. It's been like maybe 7 or 8 years almost. Like we were dating for only like a year at that point. But we were talking about like, we should make like this fake profile just to see all the cringy shit that people did.
Yeah.
I can't remember if we did it or not. If we did though, like I didn't find anything super hilarious like I feel like would be on Tinder, because I've seen some people make videos on that and it's crazy. Like some of the messages people send.
Some of it's like fucking sad. It's like you kind of get empathetic, this empathy shit for them. But yeah, as a matter of fact, Trippy said if you want to come, you can join us, and I'll tell you how that can happen later when we're off cam.
Yeah,
we're sitting in the green room smoking cigarettes and drinking Lucky Strikes and smoking. Anyway, whatever, right? Let's see. So to this point in life, what would you say? I mean, to this point in time, what would you say is the best day of your life has been? What did that look like?
The best day of my life
so far
was probably one of the so we went up to Knoebels, again, my boyfriend and I, who from this point on I guess I'll just say Chuck, that's his name, and that's so just so that way I'm not like my boyfriend, it's Chuck. So Chuck and I went up to a place called Knoebels. It's in Centralia or Central PA. We went up to Centralia as well, which is like 15 minutes away. I'm really, really obsessed with anything regarding Silent Hill or horror video games, and Centralia was actually the biggest inspiration for the Silent Hill movie, and Knoebels is really like, it's never been confirmed officially that it's inspiration for Silent Hill 3, but I really think it is, especially when you compare the mascot in the game and the mascot in the actual theme park.
Cool.
And it was really cool. It's different than any, like, it's not like your typical Six Flags or any other big theme park like Dorney or Hershey, which is in PA. It's more like instead of paying for a general admission, there's no general admission. You can go for free. You can even bring your dogs. They have like little stations there with like water and food. You just pay for rides. It's like a regular state.
It's like a fair,
like
yeah.
Carnival.
Yeah.
And and it's up all, like, I don't know if it's active all year round, but it's like it's a stationary thing. It doesn't travel or anything, but it's so cheap and affordable to go. And sponsor me, Centralia or Knoebels. But it's really affordable. It's really a really nice place to go if like you're ever in like Pennsylvania and you want to go to a theme park. It's my favorite that I've ever been to.
Cool. Let's say hi on D Live to It's Eric 82. Hello. Greetings.
Hey.
Nice. Yeah, we are also going on Twitch and Facebook. It's part of the deal. I use this thing called Restream, and so it goes to.
Oh, it goes everywhere, not just on YouTube. That's the only link I have.
We're broadcasting worldwide.
On all of the websites. That's right. Good. That's good to get it out there.
Yeah. Well, it's just I'm I'm throwing spaghetti at the wall, man. At this point.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I've been, dude. I don't even want to get into it. My relationship with YouTube is.
It's been really,
frustrating.
So, behind the scenes, behind like closed doors, I guess, behind the scenes, I've been really, really diving deep into the way YouTube's mechanics work. And I think that with the right studying and the right, there's a lot of strategy behind how you can be successful on YouTube now compared to before. And it's not just your clickbaiting stuff. It's not just like, things here and there. There's a lot of things. It's a lot more tedious now. And if you don't like keep up with every little thing YouTube wants you to do, you're not, it's hard to get your head afloat. One of the things that really aggravates me is the fact that YouTube kind of prioritizes monetized content over things that are obviously demonetized,
right,
but things that are not monetized either. And what's really hard about that is two things. The first is that if you are, let's say you don't want to monetize your video, but you have all these annoying copywriting companies coming along and they want to claim your video, and then they monetize it, or they claim it and then it's monetized but for their gain.
right.
If that video gets demonetized, then you don't even have the choice to like save your video, and it'll treat the video the same way that it gets demonetized if you try to monetize it. And it, once your video gets demonetized, it's dead. Like, they restrict it from anywhere being visible. The only way people will see it is if they go on your channel, and it's ridiculous. And if you upload it and then choose not to monetize it, I have to do more research on it, but I feel like it's a 50-50. Whereas if it's automatically monetized, it's like your golden area. So it's really complicated. And once I kind of get everything like really figured out, like kind of crack the code on it, I want to make a video talking about it, because there's a lot that I feel like people should know regarding that, because people's channels are suffering because of it and nobody's understanding why.
Yeah, and I joined right after. Well, I started making content right after the adpocalypse and stuff, and so yeah, it's been fighting. I've been fighting. I'll bitch about it off camera. But everybody that's been following me, and Trippy knows this shit because he's on my Friday night show. I consider him fam. He's a good guy. Yeah. It's not. It's a lot more difficult. I want to say hey to City Youssef 01 on D Live. Greetings.
Hello. How's it going?
Just saying hey on there. That's what that was about, dude. Let's see. All right, so we talked about the best day of your life. What about the worst day? What?
There's been a few really bad days. Probably the worst day. There's two. Both of them are deaths. The one is the death of one of my family members, which was my grandmother. And that's kind of what started a lot of my anxiety and panic attacks. That's a long story. One that I think I'm going to save for a potential, if I ever get into talking about like these story times. The other one was 2.5 years ago when my cat died, and that was really bad. And I'm sure there's a few people on here that remember that, because that was kind of like around that same time was like the end of the first era I was on YouTube, and then that's when I about a couple months after that is when I left and then came back. Right. But that was really hard. I think that might even have been the worst grief in my life. So it was really bad. But everything other than that is, after I'm pretty much healed from it. It was a really bad time.
Well, and I appreciate you being so open and candid with your answers. It's cool. I really respect that.
Thanks.
So I'll shift gears a little bit and ask you about muscle cars. What's your favorite old school muscle car?
I'm really bad with cars, and it's actually really funny because my Chuck is he's asleep right now. But
what's your favorite like 8 or 16-bit game?
Okay, that one's a little bit better.
Back in the day.
So, my first ever video game when I was really little was Nintendo. And I would play it was Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt in the same cartridge, so you could choose which one you wanted to play, but I would always play Mario Brothers. That was like any of the old Mario games actually was like one of my that was like about 90% of like my toddler years playing those games. So yeah, the original Mario Brothers. That's
Cool.
fun.
Cool. Yeah, I had one called Zombies Ate My Neighbors. Did
Oh,
you ever play that? That was a fun old game.
Was that a Nintendo game?
I think it was available on Nintendo. Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
I had it on Sega. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I didn't. My cousins had a Sega. I would play that once in a while. Like I'd play the Sonic games, and I'd play What else did they have? They had like a Tasmanian Devil game or something by like Looney Tunes. But yeah, I didn't have my own Sega, so like there was like a whole bunch of games I missed out on with that. It's right from the Nintendo, the original Nintendo. It was like a good like maybe 5-6 years that I'd played that. Didn't get any new consoles or anything, and then the original first Sony PlayStation came out, and my dad got it, and I was like, and then that's really when I started playing a lot more video games.
Yeah. So what's your favorite game right now?
Right now, I still like the old PlayStation 2 games. I'm really bad. Right now, like my favorite relevant game would be like The Sims, just because I've kind of grown apart from a lot of mainstream like games. Like over the years, FPS games like first-person shooters have been crazy. Once Call of Duty started getting popular back like when the Xbox 360 was out, like I never really got into that too much, but they still had like a lot of survival horror still coming around. Then everything that happened with PT and Silent Hill really broke my heart, so Konami's kind of gone with that. I'm looking forward to Death Stranding. I'm looking forward to The Last of Us Part 2. Last of Us, the first game was pretty awesome, but as of right now, the only thing that I've been playing is like The Sims, which is sad, but
well, you know I think that I don't know. I think I played The Sims 2.
That was the best one.
Yeah.
Just like that was like kind of the peak of its era. The Sims 4 is really it's cool, it's nice, it's fun, but one thing, and this is another topic that I want to bring up eventually, is games, especially EA games. I feel like EA is one of the biggest companies that do this. They really like to kind of strand their games after a while, so they really nickel and dime everybody.
Yeah,
and
no shit.
Yeah, it's terrible. So for example, like The Sims 2, that was like the golden era of The Sims. There was so much in it. The animations were great in it, and you could tell that like the developers put a lot of time and like effort into it. Every expansion pack, even the base game, had a whole bunch of stuff that you could just replay for hours and hours and hours. Mm-hmm. But then, The Sims 3 came along, and, a lot of people really liked that, but a lot of the stuff seemed to just be recycled from The Sims 2. And then The Sims 4 came along, and not only do things seem to be recycled, but they really seem to not only neglect animations and, like, gameplay, but someone did a video where, like, they don't, like, even the project files themselves, like, texture packs and stuff, the developers just get lazy on it, and they just kind of half-ass it just to get it out quicker, and every expansion, every stuff pack that comes out has like maybe 5 or 10 items, whereas like the older games had like a whole bunch of stuff. So it's really, they're being really cheap and like diming every person that pays for their games.
Yeah, you see a lot of that now with games. It's like if you want, if you really want to, you gotta buy shit. The extra stuff, and you're right, they nickel and dime the hell out of you. Let's see. What about, are you into anime?
Yes. So I don't talk about my anime choices a lot, just because I feel like anytime I would bring it up, a lot of people say it's a shit anime. So I'm well aware that a lot of the anime I like is pretty crappy, but I'm one of those people that like the basic, like Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, stuff like that. I find them to be like, I don't know, I guess I relate to them more, because I see where people point out that certain things in them are bad, especially Sword Art, but I still like it.
Right.
It's like bad, but I enjoy it. So
Do you ever check out the Death Note animated version?
yes, wait, like Death
Death,
Note,
yeah,
just the
anime.
regular
Yeah,
anime,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Death Note was good. Death
Yeah,
Note was a really good anime.
that's a classic.
That was really funny. That's actually really funny because we were actually going to name Chester Ryuk off of the
Yeah.
but nobody could pronounce it, and my parents were like, what the hell does that mean? Like, that's a stupid name. And I was like, okay. So we didn't name him that, but that's exactly around the time that I started watching that a lot. Man, I don't want them to remake it. I don't want them to ruin it, but I would love to see like something new with that, just to kind of bring back some nostalgia. It was a good show.
Yeah, it was.
I also like Black Butler. I know a lot of people like the type of gothic-y vibes it gives, I guess, but that was a good show too.
Cool. Cool. All right. So, moving on to tattoos. Do you have any?
No. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm the most boring person to
No.
interview because I'm like, no, I'm just so basic.
Well, that's the reason I ask questions like this, because either answer is going to tell you something about the person, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
The the reason why I don't though, like, cause I like tattoos. I really appreciate people that can withstand going through hours and hours just to get that type of stuff done. The reason I don't have any is just because I'm really indecisive, and I feel like if I got a tattoo, I would hate it 2 weeks later, and it'd be stuck on me.
Yeah.
So I would never be like, I would hate it after a little while, and I'd be so upset that I spent all that money and it's stuck on me forever unless I want to get it laser removed, which I hear is really painful. So
Well, all right, so if you did get a tattoo that represented you, what would it look like?
I always decided that if I ever do get a tattoo, it would be a crimson butterfly, which is from Fatal Frame 2, just because that's my all-time childhood favorite video game. And like, there's a lot of stuff in that I just really find awesome. But if you don't, have you ever heard of Fatal Frame? Because it's like a spooky game, and there is a significant symbolism as to why I would pick that. So if you don't know what it is, Fatal Frame's like this spooky Japanese horror game.
Cool.
And in the game there's like a lot of ghosts, and there's a lot of these like really, really scary aspects to it. It's a great work of art. There's also, in particularly Fatal Frame 2, these red butterflies that go throughout the whole town of this haunted village. And you as the character end up being drawn to these red butterflies throughout the game, and they represent, they're supposed to be spirits of people who have been in this game sacrificed. It's a long story, but they actually happen to be spirits. But the difference between spirits in the form of a butterfly and the ghosts that want to kill you is that the red butterflies kind of symbolize like a peace, and like anytime you see them, it's like you're okay, and it's like, oh, I'm safe here. And on top of that, they're just absolutely gorgeous. Just something about them is truly unique. You never see anybody like having anything with a red butterfly. Usually if like you see like jewelry or clothes or anything with a print of a butterfly on it, it's usually like a different color. It's one of the hardest things to find. I'm not sure if it symbolizes anything else as to why that is, but for me, I always wanted to get that red butterfly tattoo just to signify, like, oh, it means peace. It means you're going to be okay. The reason I still don't want to get that, though, is because red is apparently the only ink that could not only, like, really bother your skin, but if you go and get any, like, medical testing done, like an MRI or something, it can fuck the whole thing up and it could, like, rip the whole tattoo apart.
Oh, weird.
So,
I didn't know
yeah.
that. That's crazy.
So it's just particularly red ink for some reason. I'm not sure why that is, but I only know that because I had to get an MRI before, and it, like, had, like, a little thing about it, and I was like, oh, well, that's good.
No doubt. No doubt. What about piercings?
Piercings? When I was a kid, I wanted to get snake bites, like the lip piercings, but I got no. Well, I don't have any piercings, and I don't think you could see them on camera, but I have, like, cysts, like tiny little bumps in my ears, so I probably could get piercings, but I've always been afraid to, like, kind of bother that and irritate that, so I don't have any piercings either.
That's cool. So let's see. So what would you say the best and the worst purchases you've ever made are?
Well, the worst purchase I've ever done wasn't necessarily because I regret the product. It's mostly because of it being a mistake. So I use a VPN, and the VPN that I use had, like, this offer, like, oh, okay, well, if you purchase, like, 3 years of it, you know, it's only, like, $3 a month. So I thought, okay, that's cool. I'm gonna pay $3 a month. So every month it'll take $3 out of my bank account. No, that's not how it worked. It took, like, $300 out of my bank account. It's like, oh, you're. Oh. Luckily, they were cool and returned it, refunded me. So now I just do the monthly fee. It's more expensive, but I don't have to drain my bank account of $300 right away. The best purchase that I've made is probably my computer, because without it, I would still have my other one that really can't handle video games, streaming, or anything. I guess almost 2 years ago. It's Alienware. I wanted to build my own computer, but I financed this through credit. Able to get it, but I wasn't able to. Like, when you build a computer, you'd have to, like, put all your money up front, and you can't, like, go to Best Buy and get it. You have to, like, you know, order parts online.
Right.
But you're paying everything right away. I financed my computer and just paid it off, but I still love it. It's a really good computer for me.
Nice. Do you have a favorite piece of clothing?
I have a really awesome blue dress, and I don't want to sell it because I just really like it. It was a dress at my friend's wedding. Let me see if I have a picture of it. But I have absolutely no use for it now because unless somebody else gets married, but her wedding was really not exaggerated, what's the word? Formal. Everybody wore, like, really pretty gowns and stuff, and here it is. It's a really pretty blue dress. And, like, thing here, you can really see it. And that's Chuck. He looks like an anime in that picture. But
I kind of like the ruffles there, man. It's kind of cool.
Really sparkly and blue, and it was really pretty. It is.
It's a pretty dress, though. Yeah.
Thank you. Something like that you never really wear more than one occasion, but I don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
A memory for me.
Yeah. For some reason, your camera keeps, like, freezing up a little bit.
Oh, is it? Hold on.
That's cool.
Is it, like, wobbling or?
No, it's freezing, and I don't know if it's on your side or my side, so we'll pretend like it's my side. And I don't know what's going on, so I apologize to anybody out there. But yeah,
Sorry.
It's fine. What job would you really be terrible at?
Okay, I a job I would be terrible at is serving because I have a nervous system thing. I don't know. My hands shake a lot, really, really bad, especially my left hand. So if I'm giving you coffee, um, you better wear. It's gonna go all over the floor and all over. It's this is gonna sound really terrible. But I call my hands Michael J. Fox hands. I do not have. Yeah. I like to self-deprecate a lot, but I don't have Parkinson's that I know of, but it's almost as bad with my hands.
I had a friend that had like a slight tremor, and it was a familial, like it was passed down through this.
That's
you know, yeah.
It's on my mom's side, but I have the worst of it than anybody has ever had. I have asked my doctor what the link to that is, like if it's possible I have Parkinson's, but I don't think so. But they never checked for it, so.
Yeah, if it was indicated, they would, they'd definitely jump on that shit.
Yeah,
even a crappy doctor can,
point that out.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just shaking like a nervous system issue that.
If you could,
sorry.
I was going to say, if you could go back in time and spend a week with anybody, who would it be and why?
Probably. So, I mentioned them earlier in this interview. Probably my cousins. So, I grew up with them, and they were like brothers to me. I have 3 cousins. They're the 3 that I was closest with. The other 2 were a little bit older, and they were like my childhood best friends. They were really, really. I was really close with them, especially after losing my grandmother that I mentioned. They were like my support system, and like there was a lot that was really special about them to me. Over the years, when you get older, especially like with like family and stuff, you drift apart. However, with my family, which is unfortunately, I guess I can't really go into it too deeply, but my family kind of had like a really bad clash. And while I didn't have any falling out specifically with my cousins that made me not want to talk to them, we were inevitably separated. And this was kind of, it wasn't before social media came out where I could at least talk to them online or like, but they're not really big on that, or at least they weren't at the time. So we kind of drifted, and it was really sad, and it was really hard for me to deal with. But there are still a lot of like really great memories that I have, and probably will for the rest of my life, that there's like millions that I could just say I wish I could go and relive that day. Like, for example, every single Saturday my grandfather would take us out just to eat. It wasn't anywhere special. Like, we would go to Wendy's, we'd go to McDonald's, but then we would go and like play sports and stuff after. And it was just like some of the best childhood memories I had. Yeah. So it'd be definitely that. Just like a whole week of that would be great.
Yeah, I like the vibe that you got. You remind me of this girl, this lady that's on YouTube named Chat Mort. I don't know if you've heard of her.
I don't know. Yeah, no, is she?
Yeah, she's like, pretty cool. I think you guys will get along.
Oh, thank you.
So, all right. So, if you could morph 2 animals and make one super animal, what 2 animals would you choose and why?
I'd probably choose. See, I was going to say I'd probably choose a cat and a rabbit because that would be like the cutest, fluffiest little combination. But I'm allergic to cats. Despite the fact that my mom still has a bunch and I grew up with a cat. So I would probably say maybe like a fox and a rabbit. because rabbits are like really cute and fluffy. My bunny is super sweet. She loves to like cuddle when she's in her mood too. And foxes are just really, really cute animals, and they're not something you should domesticate, but they like just seeing that combination of an animal would be adorable, and I would like just get a farm and just like put a bunch of them in there and just be like, oh, you're so cute.
So all right, we're kind of coming around to getting towards the end of the questions here. So who would you say is a criminally undersubbed YouTuber, in your experience? I usually say on this corner of YouTube, but really you're kind of from a different part of YouTube, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So who's on your radar that you think is vastly, under?
So this sounds terrible, but a lot of the YouTube channels that like I'm kind of related to, like this commentary stuff, a lot of them are a lot bigger than me. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to think, like there's people like iNabber, iDubbbz, stuff like that. Like who else?
Keemstar.
Yeah. Oh, Keemstar is a little. But people like that, they're already pretty high subbed. There was one YouTuber that actually used a clip of my video in his, and it was related to Onision. I can't remember what his name was. He was pretty cool. Hold on, let me see if I could search him up, because he was pretty cool. He's seems like he's European. I don't want to say like from a specific, like he sounded like he was like British or something, because I could be totally wrong. But
Rock Socks.
No, I think it might be. No, that's not her. This guy might be this guy. Yeah, his name is Curtis Price. He does like his style is very similar to my recent videos.
Mm-hmm.
He only has 24,000, so he is less than me. I feel like he's gonna be one of those channels that blow up though. He's definitely on his way there.
You're growing too, because last week I believe you were right at just hit 30K or a little bit over it, and now you're at 31.6, which blows my mind. That's incredible, like a rate of growth. Yeah, it's good to have you back on YouTube, because I think you fill a niche that's not underrepresented. All right, so what about overhyped YouTubers?
Overhyped.
You fucking just cannot get it. I have no clue why these people are popular.
So one of the people I made a video on, I will actually say is an overhyped YouTuber, is Jay Station. And I say that hesitantly because I don't even think that most of his followers are real. I think that a good majority of them are bots, because it doesn't reflect in his comments and in his likes and stuff. But if they are real, I would say he's really overhyped because of all of the terrible things that person has done, and he still has followers. It doesn't make sense.
I see the guy that was seeing that underage girl from Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Quality stock, that guy. Just sarcastically says, irate. So, all right, talk about your content and where you see your channel going. Anything you've got that you're working on right now. So I'm kind of at a crossroads, because I really enjoy the videos that I'm making right now. They're not just easy. I can get them out quickly. The type of So a lot of people call like my genre like a drama channel now, which is something that I was trying to avoid getting in the niche of, and more of just like the typical commentary. Right.
But regardless, I still like kind of making these videos on like not just exposing people, but every once in a while talking about, what's going on, and like, kind of, I've always been that channel that like rants about things, but now I have like a particular style with it that like kind of, I guess, gives it flavor, so people actually want to watch and listen to what I have to say about this person and this person. But now I'm at this crossroads because the other thing I'm really passionate about is animating, and I'm working actually currently in the middle of working on my D&D animation, which I've been working on for like a year, just because I've been like kind of putting it to the side, then going back to it, putting it to the side. A lot of the reasons why I've been putting animations to the side is to make like these like videos on people and topics that are relevant. But it's starting to make me kind of not feel burnt out or sad, because I feel like I'm quite the contrary. I feel like right now I have a lot of drive to make videos, but I'm just kind of worried that if I start posting my animations that no one's going to watch them, or that people aren't going to like them.
I'll tell you this right now. My wife Uzi Q loved your animation on retail.
Really?
Oh yeah, she works at Wally World. So yeah, she totally identified with all that shit. Yeah, that was a great video.
Thank you. The one that I'm working on right now, like I said, it's a D&D. The quality is so much better than that one. I'm actually, the reason why it's taking so long is because the retail one, like, there wasn't a lot of backgrounds. There was like a lot of like blank space in the videos. I'm trying to make sure everything is full color, backgrounds and everything. I worked really, really hard on the voice acting. It's not just me. There's a couple other people in it. I'm really, really proud of it. And I just, sometimes when, at least this is what I always tend to experience, whenever I make something that I put like 110% of my effort in, nobody watches it.
Right.
But then if I make something that might not be ridiculous, sometimes it is. Sometimes I would make stupid videos that would go viral, and I'd be like, well, why did that? But this didn't. But I'm really hoping that this is the one video that I work really hard on that actually gets seen by people, or like that someone notices and is like, hey, she's pretty good. Because in the future, if I had to choose on which video or like what type of content I would prefer to do with guaranteed success, it would be the animations over the commentary. I like it. I love talking about things, but I just know I could do more, and I want people to see everything I could do, just not just this.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're very talented with the animated.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I like that a lot. And my wife was just cracking up because you were every nail you hit. She you could tell it was resonating with her real deeply. So before we end this episode of the Ice Cream Interviews, it's tradition, of course, to show your channel and give a final word for the chat and the folks watching.
Okay, sure. So my channel is youtube.com/Tamimi. I make lots of commentary stuff. Hopefully soon you'll see some of my animations. As for what I want everybody to take away from this is, I'm just really glad that you guys have come out to see me and IRATE talking about some crazy stuff. And I just really hope that everyone sticks around for what I have in the future, not just, the commentary, but everything else that I'm working on too. 'Cause I'm really nervous about it, but I hope it's good.
I'll put all the links in the chat right now just to make sure. And
thank you.
That up. Yeah. And that YouTube is just hit HTTPS or whatever before that, and that'll take you there.
Yeah.
Those are direct links to it, though, which is cool.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's see. Make sure I got everything covered. So what about chat? You want to say hey to chat? Maybe answer a question or two from the chat before we split?
Yeah, does anybody have anything to ask? Did I?
Yeah, and
I
Zell,
covered.
no feet pics, okay?
Oh God. Oh my gosh. Well, while I'm waiting for anybody to ask, because I actually like the whole time I wasn't looking on the chat screen. I guess I probably should have, but I was looking at the Hangouts thing. Um, while that is going on, have I ever watched Golf City?
Gulf City.
No, I've never seen that.
Oh, dude, that's an animation channel, and they do great stuff. It's a
Oh,
guy named Ghastly. I'll talk to you about them.
yeah.
Yeah, they're real cool. Um,
Yeah, I just searched them. They don't look familiar, but I'll have to look into them. They seem really
yeah,
like
there's a
they're.
whole mythology built around it. It's all hail blue whale.
Ooh,
Yeah, if you've heard that, then you definitely have hooked up or at least bumped into somebody that watches Gulf City. Stone Monkey, who I interviewed this time last week, says watch Gulf City.
ooh, cool.
He's not
I'm
asking,
gonna
he's
have to look
telling.
into them.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's one of the coolest, most mellow people I've ever hung out with. He's great.
really?
Yeah, you are too. You
Oh,
this has
thank
been a
you.
fantastic interview. Yeah, all hell blue whale. That's right, AHBW. Um, Mr. Wicked. So, any other questions? Because
Yeah, I don't
if
see
not,
anything.
we're gonna wrap, and then I think I'm gonna hang out with Tamimi for a couple minutes, and Fandom D Saint. I see you did a video on the female Doctor Who.
Oh yeah. Um, that I have not watched Doctor Who in a long time. I was going to try and get back into it, but then I just keep forgetting about it. I think I even said that in my video. But yeah, that was a couple years ago at this point. The female Doctor Who. Basically, to reiterate my comments that I remember in that is a lot of people were really upset that they were getting a female Doctor Who, and they thought that it was pandering to like at the time when feminism was just really starting to be going viral on like YouTube, and everyone was like like against like all the like social justice warriors and stuff. Um, that was that was a really weird time.
Those pesky SJWs, man, they're just
that
stirring the pot.
it doesn't. It's not like over I don't want to say overbearing anymore. Like there was just a weird time when like a lot of extremist people would go crazy, and now it's just like nothing happened. At least unless I maybe just distance myself from it and I don't see it anymore, but I never hear anybody talking about that anymore at all.
Mm.
Anyway, like I was saying, a lot of people were afraid that it would be pandering to a particular audience just to get like brownie points. But my point in it was, if she's good at it, if she's doing, she's just as good as any of the other actors that came on, because I didn't know who the actor
Yeah,
was before.
did you see the season that she was on?
I did not. I haven't even
You're
heard
fortunate.
any like if it was good or bad. I heard a couple people like liked it, but didn't really comment on like her particularly.
Yeah, it was a little too woke for my ass. So,
Oh, really? Oh,
hmm
uh-oh.
right. So, it's been shut down. Yeah, they're gonna have a new doctor. They announced that like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah,
they have to do that every. It's been like what, like 3-ish
yeah,
years? Oh, yeah. They usually do it like every 4 or 5 years.
yeah.
That you know.
You get a new one.
Yeah,
Rotate them out.
that's how
Um,
that show's been going on since like the 30s. I think like over 70
the
years at
30s.
this point.
I think it started in 1950s.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's all right. Yeah, just make me feel as old as you can. Just thanks so much. Well, shit. And on that note, people, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap. This has been fantastic. Another ice cream interview is. Let me, because I really like that. What happened? Where did it go? It went somewhere. Yeah.
Oh, the picture. Yeah, it's great. I love the stars. That's like kind of like a weird thing I have. I like galaxy stuff. So that was really cool.
Well, I want to thank you once again, Tamimi. You've been awesome. Thank you so much. I've asked people with less than 2,000 subs to like do this thing, and it cops a little snobbishness, yeah.
Well,
So I'm just saying, yeah, this is one of the most nice, genuine people. She immediately responded with yes, so and that impressed the hell out of me, and it's like, it makes me feel good because it tells me what kind of person you are, right?
Oh, thank you. Well, I know a long time you asked me if I could join, and just at that time I was planning on trying to get into live streaming, and I like had the hopes for it, but everything was like falling through. Now it's a lot easier for me to do it. I have like a much more quiet space, less distractions. So now it's a lot better of a time, and I'm really glad you had me on your show. I'm really thankful. So thank you for allowing me to come on.
Well, thanks. And like I said, people, next Friday, of course, it'll be another Creem stream, and you know what that means. Just more cringe, more clips, etc. Yeah. Oh, it's a lot different. Oh, yeah. It's It's like I say it's like the weekly world news for YouTube. It's kind of tabloid news stuff, and then we've been doing a lot of video stuff like with cringe, everything from Fear Heights type videos to e-thoughts and cam whores, bitching about not getting enough money and throwing fits. I mean, I'm having to blur out a lot of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I do rate the show. It's restricted.
Like it scans through words verbally, and it reads them. But on a live stream, I don't know if it does that. I feel like you could get away with like saying like the F word and like anything, and getting away with more topics and having it not be pushed down in the algorithm. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, the algorithm doesn't even acknowledge me, so that's why I'm so grateful that you took this time out of your busy schedule and hung out with a poor schlub like me, and I appreciate it. And on that note, let's say goodbye, and then we'll wrap it.
Alrighty, well, have a good night, everybody. See you later.
Night, y'all. And like I said, this time next week it'll be Fat Pat, and then gaming and yelling after that. Oh my God! Yeah, he's funny as hell. Later, y'all. Thanks.
Every week on Friday, midnight Eastern, the Creem stream, the weekly world news for YouTube. Sundays, 5 p.m. Eastern, the ice cream interviews. Fascinating people. Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, hot takes with the Butter Baron. Watching horrible shit so you don't have to. Subscribe to IRATE Prostate now.